Good evening, everybody. Keith here. Wanted to talk to everybody tonight about your authority. Where do you get your authority? And everything that we're doing today in these courts, everybody's got problems in all aspects of it, whether it be trying to enter a document on the record, trying to get them to recognize your documents at any point in the stage, having to be able to get our documents onto the record without a cost to us. We have a right to free access to these courts, and we're not being allowed that. And basically what's happening is everything's a summary process. In other words, it's not a process that's due. A summary process is based on a set of regulations that guideline it. And today we have administrative law, we have civil law, we have criminal law, all these different laws that have the different processes. Okay? Now the supreme process in all of life is the process that's due naturally. Okay? And so what we have to do is when we start signing over our liberty of rights, as most people call them, I call them responsibilities. When we start handing over our responsibilities to people like the public education system to educate our children, we're giving them powers of attorney to administrate many different affairs than just the education. We're doing this out of ignorance, and we need to start becoming aware of all the facts before we start making those decisions. Those are dumb decisions. Even having a bank account with this central banking system, with everything being funded, understand the importance of that word, funded. Everything that is funded through the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which funds many currencies of many different countries throughout the world under the UMF, who all have their own collection hound dogs here in America known as the IRS, who also have their own foreign situs trust corporations that operate as transmitting utilities for the private sector to transmit public transmitting utilities known as Federal Reserve notes, which are only meant for government employees, which under Title 26 of the United States Code, Section 7701, definitions, if you look under trade or business, it pertains publicly or specifically to public officials and does not include anything else, and therefore it is limited to public officials. And so anybody that's involved in a trade or business has been duped also to believe that they are an employer. And again, an employer is something that is a government agency, some kind of government contract. So when we start understanding this stuff, we have to realize that's their authority. It's purely in a summary process for public officials. Public officials are involved in trade or business. Trade or business is the only thing that can be taxed. Under that same title, Title 26 of the United States Code, Section 7701, definitions. This is your tax code. This is your Internal Revenue Code. This is what the IRS goes by when they say you owe taxes. And so when we look under the Title 26, Section 7701, definitions, and if you go down and you look at motor vehicle and you find out what motor vehicle means, and you'll find out that they're talking about lease and commercial use for 50% of the time, this is where they're defining the certificate of title for motor vehicle. And what they've done is they've convinced you that your automobile is going to be used under lease terms 50% of the time that you use it for commercial purposes on the public roadways, and therefore the state has a right to tax you. Social Security Administration, when you get a Social Security card, they classify you as a Medicare qualified government employee, yet they're not paying you for any kind of hours. Okay? What they're doing is they're giving you benefit of being able to sign your name for the artificial entity, the fictional person known as the Foreign Situs Trust, of the birth certificate. Your birth certificate is the upper and lowercase name, and that is the one you sign in. Okay, you're signing as the authorized representative to use a foreign situs trust, known as the fictional person Keith Orland Little in all caps, through the foreign situs trust, which is a protection measure so that you can't so that the public charitable trust, known as the birth certificate, can be invaded. And this is all done through their delegation of authority over that person. They created it. They have delegation of authority over that person. So when you want to start asserting your own authority, understand maxims of law state that you can only control that which you create, and you cannot control that which you did not create. So what that's telling us, and I always tell people to understand the concept of don't putting all your eggs in one basket. That's what the U.S. government has done by creating all these different persons. Every time you go to the hospital and to the emergency ward, that event has caught a set of circumstances that create certain information. They collect your weight, they write down your male, your age, your blood type, various different information. That creates a person. That creates another person for that contract. Now, that's creating another person on their public side of the public charitable trust for two reasons. First, you've gone to a public hospital. It's a military institution run by the government under a private corporation, acting as a public entity. They're all public officials. They've all taken oaths. They all work for the government. They all pay the taxes as a taxpayer. They all have taxpayer identification numbers. Even though they may have a Social Security number, they're acting in a different capacity in those duties. So what they've done is they've created a person through a trust that operates many different persons through the use of the Social Security number. Use Social Security number ties it back to that account so that every person that's created is known that there's an authorized representative that's signing each document, and that's you. So when you go to the hospital or you go to the public clinic, you're signing different documents, but it's your signature through the same person of a Social Security account that's creating the person of the event. Understand this stuff, people. I highly recommend, if you understand this stuff, I was just posed a question about doing a DBA, and understand the terms of the taxing code when they say trade or business, and you sign up those documents to say doing business as. I don't do business. I conduct my own private affairs. It's none of your fucking business whether I'm doing them to prosper or to help my fellow man out of my own fucking pure free will. It's none of your damn business whether I'm doing it for pleasure or for work or effort or knowledge. None of your damn business. That's my authority. I have an unlimited power to contract. And this is the entire point of my post or my video here. You have unlimited powers, people. You don't have to sign a goddamn thing that they present. Okay? They have to first prove their delegation of authority, saying that you have to give a physical live signature for any event, period. You can automatically at any time change your mind to decide all of a sudden I no longer wish to have a TIN because I realize now I can make a better advantage of using my Social Security number through its exemption account conversion. If you guys don't know how to convert your routing number on the back of your Social Security card, learn that real quick. That letter at the beginning is converted to a number, and then you add a 0 to it, no dashes. That is your exemption account number. You present any payment of a statement. Please do the settlement to the Treasury. As soon as I get that address, I'll get it to you. Understand this stuff, people. When you use their they're different persons, and you've got all those different eggs in all different baskets. What they're doing is they're keeping all those eggs in different baskets, and they're protecting their own ass through each different setup. And that's what you need to do. You need to step up as the settlor of that birth certificate trust account. Settle that motherfucker and transfer all collateral equity to your own private trust. Settle all the accounts so that you're no longer associated with the United States Inc. In God we trust. Yeah, in God we trust is an incorporated corporation as well. Look at that on my one of my recent posts. Actually, I think I put it up as a, I changed my profile picture or something. The picture on my wall. So, Lisa Mary, your card has no number. Tell them you lost it. You need a new card. They'll send you a new card. On that new card, there will be a number. They have to keep track. If there's no number, call them and ask them about this fraud. You require the routing number of your exemption account. That's your account. You are a paramount party of interest with superior interest, and you have a right to all intangible and tangible property. In other words, any knowledge they have of it, they are to forward it to you. That's full disclosure. You need to know the routing number so that you can access it properly, accordingly, with the paramount party of interest, so that you can attain the capacity as the settlor with all requirements necessary to do that, to perform those duties, whether you do them by yourself or assign a fiduciary counselor to do them for you. That's your durable power of attorney in fact. Unlimited durable power of attorney in fact. Very important information you need to put out there and let people know your goddamn authority. My mom looked at me the last time we spoke face to face and said, Keith, the police are your authority. Now, if I gained the age of authority at of majority at the age of 18, and that meant I was able to carry my own responsibility and authority myself without having somebody to sit there and tell me when I could shit and piss, then that means I was my own authority. I'd like to know who the fuck signed documentation giving somebody else authority over me after I left my home, left my mom and dad's home. I know she didn't. I know she did one time. That was an adoption paper. She signed documentation saying that she would take authority. And mind you, she did an awesome job. I couldn't have any better. We just think differently. Thank God. But one day, we'll get this truth out. And all it is a matter of you standing up for your own authority. And your own authority is your own knowledge. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people shall perish for they lack knowledge. And you'll surely die. If you deny knowledge, you're denying him. He's the one that provides the knowledge. You better take care of it. You better take advantage of it. You better learn it. You better keep it so you can pass it on to your next generation so they can use it just as well, if not better, and make improvements upon it. That's what we're here for. We're here to assert our knowledge. That's where our authority stands. Mankind's most powerful weapon, his most powerful tool, is his own mind. And we just need to start using it. So when we think about this authority stuff, and you start signing these documents, like I've told people here recently, and again, you can look me up on the public record here, Keith Orland Little, upper and lowercase sensitive. Orland is spelled O-R-L-A-N-D, and then of course Little, L-I-T-T-L-E. Keith is K-E-I-T-H. Look me up. You'll see I've got several citations. I signed them all UCC 1-308. I had a recent interaction with the police here just over a month ago. Postmaster got all whiny and upset because I demanded, and so he called the police. And when they did their little magical check, despite all those citations, all been adjudicated, all found guilty. They all sit there with their fines, but they have no enforcement. The only thing that came back is the protection order that the DA put out on me a few years ago in my trial and renews it every year. And I want to remind you folks, just like I reminded my ex-wife, see, those things work both ways. You put a protection order out on me, that means you stay the fuck away from me too. And they know this. So, learn how to assert your authority and learn it by doing it through your education. Start educating yourself on how to do all this stuff. And the first thing that starts it all is your damn signature. Quit signing. Signature is a foreign language. It's cursive. It's a foreign language. You're automatically asserting a foreign jurisdiction by using a signature. You're saying you understand their cursive, and they're not even using cursive. They know better. The only time you'll ever see that cursive is on a signature, and usually it's just your signature or a copied signature of theirs, where you'll never see that wet ink signature. So think about this stuff and understand that your assertion of authority comes at each and every event. Get rid of that public person. Develop your own private persons. You can do it the same way they do and create a new person on each event. All you got to do is amend their forms or be prepared with your own forms. You young ones that are having babies in the hospitals, amend their forms. Change their words. Mother is not mother. It's mom, and she's not an informant. She's the creator. Change these fucking documents. Let them know you know the truth. Present your documents on a private registry. Private register of events. A lot of people have these old family Bibles that have a registry in it, and that's a registry of family events. They record their communions and the baptisms and the deaths and the new heirs arriving, all kinds of things. And we need to get back to that, and that's your private document. And again, just like the DBA, it's none of their fucking business. You don't get to know what I named my child unless you read it in the public notice in the local paper. I've already given notice of our ecclesiastical heir, who's brought forth to us by our Creator through a miracle that you cannot possibly subvert. Fucking morons. Who the fuck do these people think they are? Well, they think they're all high and mighty because they're using your ignorance against you. So again, I say, wise up, educate yourselves, and learn where your true authority comes from. You're the creator. You're the one that's making these fucking eggs. You better start making these your own goddamn eggs and putting them in different baskets instead of just assigning their eggs. So your unlimited abilities, your unlimited powers of contracting is straight from you and no one else. You got to quit letting them tell you how you got to behave. When I was released from the jail, the last time I stayed in jail, they tried to convince me that I had to sign their release documents. They were going to release me. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't want to be released. I'm tired of being leased all my life. Tired of your commercial system. Here, make me sign. Make me sign another contract, creating another person that's willing to pay the debt on your side of the fucking ledger. I'm no longer your idiot. You are no longer considered my authority in any way, shape, or form. You're a pissant. Every last one of you. Run like fucking cowards. I'm one man and you don't want to do business with me by putting a protection order out on me. Telling me you no longer wish to do business with me. That's great. Proves my point. You're all nothing but cowards and I've been doing nothing but proving the fraud. Understand this stuff, people. When I get ready to put all my information out, I've got my transcripts, 156 pages or something, and I've gone through it note by note, word by word, letter by letter, everything, several times. I'll do a video on that someday. In the meantime, again, understand, your authority comes from your free will, first and foremost. Then you have the right, the liberty of right, to enforce that yourself through your physical will. That's your admiralty law. That's your military law. That's your right to defend for yourself. That's just like we were just talking about release. R is just redo it again. Okay? You don't go into any court as a defendant, because that means you've defended yourself. You've taken away your ability to fend for yourself. Learn the words that they're using against you. You're not the defendant. You couldn't possibly be the defendant if you're trying to stand up and fend for yourself. And all you have to do is assert that. That's your authority. Who says that they've defended me? Who says they've taken my authority to fend for myself and defended me? Who is claiming I am a defendant? Fuck you, you ignorant bastards. That's my authority. So anyway, once again, you don't have to do shit. Follow your moral compass and do what's right. Start standing up for your fellow man when you see the siren. Or hear the siren and see the lights. And you poke your head out. And I said this one quite a few times. This is one of my favorites. And you look down the street, and a couple blocks down the street, you see where they're pulling somebody out of the house. And then you turn around, you go back inside, you sit down in front of the TV, you start watching somebody else's luxurious life as you laugh in comedy, enjoying somebody else's life. And go back to eating all your chips and processed foods and drinks. Next time, walk out your door. Start videoing this stuff so that when things go wrong, you can get over your pansy little feelings of not having to see what's real. Because someday they're going to come to your door. And then you have to see what's real. You have to hear what's real. You have to feel what's real. As they yank your kids away from you. Or they turn things around on you and shoot somebody. Happens a lot in domestic violence cases. And it's pretty sick calling a corporation on somebody. They have no authority, period. You're bringing in a third-hand officious intermeddler who's going to take advantage of it for their own purposes, and it doesn't matter who they hurt. You've now called them in as watchdogs, and that's the part they play. Well, that's all I got for now, people. Just want you to understand your unlimited powers of contract. You don't have to say shit. You don't have to sign shit. You don't have to write shit. They're the ones that have to prove their authority. Make them. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. God bless. Have a great night. So kick back, take it easy, and really think about who you are. Are you the boss? Or are you the slave? Good night.